Okay, so, tough questions. If you remember on Friday, this was the signpost. I want you to turn and talk to someone next to you. What do you remember from Friday about this signpost? What do you remember that we talked about on Friday? Turn and chat. Well, it looks like he's talking to James. So what are you going to do to set yourself up for success as I turn and talk? What do you need to do? How are you going to let them know that you would like to join in? Excuse me, can I join in? The next line, right? Alright, class.
Yes.
Thank you. What do you remember about Friday? Let's quickly share out. David? He said tough questions are hard to answer. Make sure you're using that strong voice, okay? Really loud. Catherine?
Like the characters struggling, like they solve which what they should do. They're just like struggling and struggling.
Okay. Good character struggle. Tough questions are hard to answer. These questions should make us wonder about something. Evelyn?
Different kinds of questions.
Evelyn, that kind of leads me right in. I feel we all ask questions, but are all questions alike? We talked a little bit about that on Friday. What I want you to do in a moment is we're going to turn and talk, find that turn and talk partner, and talk about how are questions different, how are they like. Turn and talk.
If you say like what's for dinner, that's a common question which you would say all the time. But uncommon question is like what not every day would be.
So when you say there's rhetorical questions where you're kind of like using over and then
Class. Class.
Yes.
Right? When I say class, you say
Yes.
class.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. What did you say? What did you and your partner say? Isabel.
Questions are different because some you can answer quickly and you already know the answer to, and some they're difficult to answer because you don't know.
Okay. Michaela.
Sometimes there's questions that are meaningful and have more feeling or to it.
So do you agree with what Isabel had to say?
Yes.
Yes, you added on, right? Okay. Cassie? So when you say future, tell me more about that.
Like maybe we get
Okay. Christopher.
I could add on to Cassie, Isabel, and Michaela that there's one more question that should be different is a rhetorical question. A question that you can answer to yourself
Okay.
maybe later now.
Okay. So on Friday we talked about these tough questions. They lead to finding that internal conflict the character might be having in a novel. We also talked that we ourselves have this internal sometimes battle, and we need to look for that in the character. Because when we look for that in the character and that character having that internal conflict, they helps reveal some things about them, and it helps us connect, right? So we need to look for the question that the character normally asks themselves or a trusted person in the book, and it's a question that you don't have an answer for right away. So Cassie, when you were saying the future, sometimes the future is in the book, right? Several chapters later. So these questions, they lead us to understand the character, right? They can help us make connections and predictions. So some of these tough questions, they show up in pairs. They don't have an easy answer. And sometimes it's the I wonder the character might say, I wonder. But when we notice it, we have to stop. And they're so easy to plow right through and not stop at all. But when we find them, we have to stop and ask ourselves, what does this question make me wonder about? Okay, because we should have some type of wonder. So, let's try now. In front of you, you have a passage from the book called Half and Half. And this book is about an 11-year-old girl, Fiona, who's part Chinese and part Scottish. And she's signing up for a dance class. Anybody know about their ethnicity and where they might come from, their background? I know I'm part Italian and part Dutch. Does anybody else have any, know what, David? Okay. Kayla? Okay, so some of us might be familiar with where our heritage and our background. You might be able to have some connections. I'm going to read along. I want you to follow along too, okay? I want you to be thinking, what's our topic today? Tough questions, right? We have that in our back of our head. Your form isn't complete, Fiona, said the recreations director. I can't let you enroll in the folk dancing class until it's completely filled in. The recreation center is located at the park not far from my school. For years, the center had been used for adult education classes, such as pottery and language lessons. Recently, the building was remodeled and expanded, and they started having classes for young people too. When I heard there were folk dancing classes, I immediately went over to enroll. I had never filled out one of their forms before, and I didn't know what the director meant by the form not being completely filled in. I looked it over again. And if you notice, wow, we should have probably noticed that in the beginning, right? Taking a look at our page. Definitely looks like the form. It looked good to me. You didn't check a box for race, she said. To get government funding, we have to let them know how many kids we have in each of the race categories. This was a problem I'd bumped into before, but I still wasn't sure how to handle it. I took the form from her. I'll finish it later, I muttered, and quickly left the recreation center. I want you to turn and talk about what did you notice about the character and what might be happening in the story. Turn and chat. Class? Yes. Thank you. Let's keep reading. On the way home, I tried to decide on the best way to complete the form. I had to check one of the boxes that said white, Asian, Black, Hispanic, Native American, or other. None of them would be right, though, because I'm not any of those things. I'm half and half. My father is Chinese and my mother is Scottish. I couldn't just check either white or Asian since I'm half of each. I suppose I could have checked the box for other, but I didn't want to. It would make me feel like an outsider, a weirdo who didn't belong anywhere. I wanted to fit in like everybody else. Why didn't they have a box for people like me, who were half and half? When I got home, Mom was in the kitchen pouring herself a cup of tea. She teaches math at the university, so she's often home in the afternoon. She drinks tea instead of coffee, even though we live in Seattle, the nation's coffee capital. Tea is cheaper than coffee since you can use the bag over again. You see, Mom is very thrifty. I want you to turn and talk. What tough questions did you notice? What do the questions make you wonder about? And I want you to mark where that tough question is on your passage. So I want you to talk with your partner. Where's the tough question? Underline what you think the tough question is. And what does it make you wonder about? Turn and talk.
Over here. Why didn't they have a box for people like me who were half?
asking myself right now, when I look around and read, tea is cheaper, and it says that you can make it back over and over again. So I think what she means by thrifty is maybe very smart and like, I don't think about thrifty. Maybe she can use the bag over and over again. So I think maybe she's smart about recycling. That's a pretty good idea.
Class. So I saw many of you actually underlining the same thing. What did you put? Joseph, I didn't get a chance to check in with you.
At first, I underlined where it said white, Asian, black, Hispanic, Native American, or other, but that's not really a question, so I changed mine to why didn't they have a box for people who are like me who are half and half? Because like you can't really answer that question.
Okay. So it seems like a question you couldn't answer. And the answer wasn't right there. Didn't come up in the next paragraph. What did it make you wonder about?
It makes me wonder how they're gonna know her race.
It makes you wonder what?
How they're gonna know her race.
Okay. What else? Michaela?
I told the same thing. I'd like to add on to Joseph because I wondered how she's gonna change it or how she's going to get into the class. How she will fix it.
Okay. Cassie?
I'd like to add on to Joseph and Michaela. Why does she think that she's an outsider and why doesn't she just like tell me what she is?
Okay. I like how you're going and connecting with some sentences further up and talking about outsiders. She really explored her feelings there, right? I like how you're bringing that in. Evelyn?
Honestly, I wonder why it make her think like feel like an outsider, because they wouldn't have the other box if there weren't other people like her.
Okay. So they wouldn't have that other box that she was talking about if they weren't people that had multiple ethnicities. Okay. Isabel?
I underlined what Joseph and Michaela underlined, and it made me wonder, like, why didn't they put a box?
Okay. Lots of questions about this box. Lots of questions you guys have about what are they going to do? Anybody have any questions or wonders or feelings about the character and the character situation that she's in right now? Edmund?
Can I tell you what I would do in that situation?
Absolutely.
I would tell my mom or tell the person that sent her that I'm kind of multiple races and I don't know which one to check.
Okay, so you're saying that a solution could be that if she went up and said, hey, I'm having this problem. Okay. How do you think the character might be feeling right now?
She's kind of feeling
Outsider. Okay. Madison? Confused. How does it feel to be confused? Not really. It gives you that little upsetness in your belly, right? Let's keep reading on. And this time, we're going to read this next one. I want you to take note. What's the tough question? What do you think it tells us about the character? What is it going to reveal about this character? Okay, Fiona. Underline that tough question, and I want you have this sheet of paper that says page number, which I think we're on page 2, correct? What's that tough question? What's the prediction for the answer, and what does it tell you about the character? Okay, so let's read on and then fill that in. She says it's because a mathematician's aim when proving a theorem is to use as little as possible to prove as much as possible. In other words, you always spend a teeny bit to get a whole lot. After doing this for years and years, you wind up being very thrifty. I took a seat at the kitchen table. Mom, what am I asked. She frowned. What do you mean? You're Fiona Ching. Last time I looked. I'm not asking you who I am, I said. I'm asking you what I am. So, to review, I want you to take a little bit of time right now. What's the tough question? question, what do you think the answer might be, and what are your thoughts about that character? I'm just gonna give you 2 minutes of think time, then we'll turn and talk to a partner. Not even 2 minutes, like 30 seconds. Underline what you think that tough question is. Turn and talk to a shoulder partner. What do you think that tough question is? What does it tell you about the character? Turn and talk. What would you write down?
Because she's a little different from what am I, or like what's my name, because it's asking what am I, which one is it be?
What am I? Because even though
All right, class, what could we write down? Let's come back together. What was that tough question? What do you think it might have been? Fahad? Yeah, so I'm asking you what I am. Is that the one you're referring to? Okay, so he's saying right here, I'm asking you what I am. Anybody else have a similar, chose a similar one? I saw lots of that highlighted and marked down. So you might have written, Fahad, right here. I'm asking you what I am. Okay. What does that reveal about the character? What thoughts does that give you about the character? Joseph?
it makes me think that she's like things about her.
So Fiona seems very confused. Okay. What are other thoughts that you might write down? Cassie? Okay, so maybe she's having some feelings about trust with other people. She's having a difficulty trusting them. Kalea? She feels insecure. Could you tell me a little bit more about insecure for those that? Okay, so this could be that inner conflict that she's feeling, right? Having this identity where she's feeling insecure about it, she's not quite sure where she fits in. Okay, some good thoughts. Friends, we're running out of time, but a lot of this great conversation we were having. And I've been noticing lots of great things that you were writing down on your chart. So, what I want you to do is, I want you to turn and talk. How is this going to help us today with our reading? What did we explore today? How are you going to use this today when we go out for our independent time? Turn and talk. Class. I know I could leave you to talk about this. I heard some great things. I heard understanding the character. I heard it might help with predicting of what's going to come next. Remember, predictions help set that purpose. Joseph, what were you going to say?
I was gonna say it's gonna help us feel like we're have the emotions with that character.
Having that connection with the character character and having those emotions. You know, we've been working so hard on connecting with that character and feeling that character, right? And being the character. What's that character feeling, and can you put yourself there? Now, again, basically, remember, it's so easy to plow right through those questions, but we need to stop, right? We need to stop so we can answer those and answer these tough questions about the character and really dive into what this character, the author's trying to show us about the character. So, in your independent book today, I want you to look for those tough questions. I want you to stop and ask yourself, hey, what does this question make me wonder? And we're going to come back afterwards and I want to share and reflect at the end. So, I'm hoping you're going to have one for sure, maybe two, a tough question that you think character might answer from your independent book. What's your prediction from that question? What do you think the answer might be? And what does this reveal about the character? What questions do you have for me today of what you're going to do at your desk?
In my book, there's like a narrator, and like yesterday, I came across a question that the narrator was asking. It's not quite clear.
Okay, great. I think that might be something you definitely want to explore with you. Could you find that in your book we'll talk about it? And then we can bring it back and share at the end. And we might be able to see something, how it might be presented a little bit different. Okay, good. All right, let's quietly, without talking, transition to our seats.